Okay, so when you hear the term solo polyamory, what's the first word that pops into your head? But what if I told you that one word totally misses the point? Today, we're going to dive into an ethical framework that's way less about being alone and way more about connecting with real intention. So yeah, let's get right into it. Yeah, if you've been around these conversations at all, you know the one I'm talking about. It's almost always boiled down to this one single, powerful word. The one that's supposed to explain everything.
Independence, right? It gives you this image of like a lone wolf or a ship sailing solo, completely free, totally unattached. It sounds good, but that simple picture, it's hiding what's really going on.
Yeah, that's just not the whole picture. Not even close. You know, focusing only on independence is kind of like trying to describe a car by just talking about its wheels. I mean, you're missing the engine, the steering wheel. You're missing everything that actually makes it go.
So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to move beyond that simple label. We're shifting from looking at the shape of the relationship to the ethics holding it up. This, right here, is where it gets interesting.
And just look at how this reframes things. This is not, and I mean not, about dodging commitment. It's the opposite. It's about insisting that responsibility and commitment have to be chosen on purpose, not just something you stumble into, because that's what people do. This really gets to the engine of it all. See, most of us run on what you could call inherited scripts. You know, the unspoken rules society hands us for how relationships are supposed to work. Well, solo polyamory basically throws out that script and says, nope, we're going to write our own. It replaces them with explicit agreements, building the thing based on the actual people involved, not some old pre-written story.
Okay, so let's get to the ethical heart of this. It all comes down to this really tricky balancing act, right? Between wanting that real, genuine connection, making sure you're always acting with kindness, and being brutally honest with yourself and others about what you can actually give.
And that leads us to the big central question here. How do you do it? How do you let yourself feel that connection, enjoy that warmth, that amazing chemistry, without accidentally sending the signal that you're promising a future or a level of commitment that you just can't sustain?
Now, your first instinct might be to just pull back, right? Be a little more detached, care less to protect everyone. But that's not the answer. Actually, that can cause a whole different kind of pain. The solution isn't to just shut off your feelings.
So if it's not about caring less, what is it? It's about being clearer. More clarity. That's the secret ingredient. And here's why that's so important. There's a massive difference between intensity and clarity. Intensity, you know that amazing rush of a new connection? It creates momentum, it feels exciting, it can even feel like a promise is being made. But clarity is what creates real informed consent. It's the thing that makes sure everybody actually knows what's happening. Look, we've all done it. Being a little vague can feel nicer in the moment, right? Like you're dodging a difficult conversation. But here's the hard truth. Being ambiguous doesn't stop anyone from getting hurt. It just pushes it down the road. And honestly, it usually makes it worse when it finally comes out.
And that idea of clarity leads us perfectly into our next section, which is all about untangling a really common misconception, the huge difference between responsibility and entitlement.
Let's be super clear. Solo poly is not some kind of get-out-of-responsibility-free card. It's not about being flaky. It's actually about being more rigorous and redefining what those responsibilities truly are, away from all the assumptions society throws at us. So what does that look like in practice? Well, it means honesty about your limits. It means truly caring for other people's time and their consent. It means communicating, really communicating when things change. And maybe most importantly, it means showing up to repair things when harm is done.
Okay, so if all that responsibility is still on the table, what's different? What's the big change? The key shift is moving away from entitlement. The responsibility is still there, for sure, but the idea that you are automatically owed certain things, that's what gets taken out of the equation.
And when we say entitlement here, we mean that assumption that just because you have a connection with someone, you're automatically owed a certain amount of their time, or you're owed texts every day, or you're owed a certain spot on their priority list. In this way of thinking, none of that is a given. All of it has to be talked about. It's all negotiated.
Which, brings us to our final part, the art of connection. Because think about it, when you strip away all those assumptions, all those defaults, what are you left with? You're left with the beautiful, deliberate, conscious act of actually choosing how you want to connect with people.
There's this amazing line in the material we're looking at that just nails it. It says that when you practice it this way, solo poly treats people as additive, not consumable. People add to your life. They aren't just there to be used up.
And again, just to be crystal clear, this isn't about avoiding deep bonds. Far from it. It's about creating the right soil, the right conditions for those bonds to grow in a way that's honest and actually sustainable for everyone.
And it's not easy. It's a really delicate, ongoing practice, a constant balancing act, you know? It's about figuring out how to stay warm without overpromising.
It's about being able to stay honest without becoming hard.
And it's about learning how to stay kind without giving up your own sovereignty.
Because when it comes right down to it, this is all about one thing: choosing bonds that don't require you to erase yourself to fit. And really, that's a lesson that matters no matter what your relationships look like.